Hi everyone. So today I decided to stream on Twitch and I pressed the go live button and my internet said, no, we are not letting you stream today. You won't be able to finish The Walking Dead. So I'm really sad, but I said to myself, I'm not just gonna sit here twiddling my thumbs and doing nothing. I wanted to actually do something while I got ready for stream. So I said instead I'm going to do a little tutorial. This is gonna just be like a short thumbnail tutorial, like kind of, you know, it's chill, it's not that big of a deal. Just a little one to help streamers or people who make YouTube videos, content creators I guess, in how to make some thumbnails for your videos that might stand out, or like just help you with the tools, because I know not everyone knows how to use, say, Photoshop or other editing software to make, you know, YouTube thumbnails. Like sometimes it comes easy to people. Like I did a bit of a like college course on it, so I know a lot of tips and tricks that might actually help people. So yeah, I just want to help other people with that knowledge, and just so I'm not sat here sad because I couldn't stream the last bit of The Walking Dead. So I'm gonna just get into it really quickly. The editing software that we're going to be using, that I'm going to be using, is Photoshop, but there's also a free version called PhotoPea that I'm going to link down in the description. If you don't have Photoshop, like, it's an online one, an online free one. It's obviously not as good as Photoshop. It's like, it's not the real deal, but like compared to the, you know, the price difference between Photoshop and PhotoPea, like free versus like everyone spends way too much on Photoshop and Adobe products. So yeah, you can give that one a go. It's actually great. It's like nearly an exact copy of what Photoshop is. So you're going to be able to use that and follow along with this tutorial that I'm doing. So yeah, we're going to get into it. I thought I would do my next episode of The Walking Dead. I have like a bit of a screenshot, or I already made the thumbnail, but I'm going to be showing you guys how I made it, step by step, going through what I did. So let me just go to the other screen. Okay, so this is just sharing my screen of Photoshop. This is the thumbnail that I ended up finishing. So here we have Clem and Lee, obviously Clem with the gun, almost zombified duck, and the title that we have up here as well. So obviously there's different elements, the background, the title, cutting out these different figures, and the shadowing behind it as well, which is something that you can do really easily. So yeah, I'm just gonna go get into it, and hopefully this will help you guys. So to start off with, we're going to go File and New, and you want to set up a custom canvas, like for your thumbnails. So 1920 by 1080 is what you want to go for. That's the size of the thumbnails across like YouTube, anything like that. Sorry, I'm looking over here because this is usually where my chat is, but I should be looking into the camera. 1920 by 1080, 300 ppi is good. So basically, that's the pixels per inch. 300 is good for printing. So you could do 72 because that's you know, more for screen stuff if you're not going to print it. But obviously, if you're gonna like just upload it to YouTube, you might as well do it at best quality. So 300 pixels per inch is good. So yeah, we're gonna choose that. Have the background as white. Just make sure you have all these settings as well. RGB, 8-bit. Yeah, that's good. So now that we have that, here you can see if it doesn't look like this to you, if your Photoshop doesn't look like this, if you go to the top corner here, there's different layers. So you can have essentials, which will change. So you have color swatches and stuff for painting. 3D, which is I don't know. I don't ever use that one. Then we go to, oh, no, I fucked it up. Hold on. You can do it as here, workspace as well. So I like photography because in the photography settings, you'll see here, if I move my camera, all of the editing and adjusting layers show up here as well. So just if you're, you kind of get used to what editing kind of style suits you. Like if you do a lot more drawing, you might want to choose one of the other editing options, but usually for photo editing or making thumbnails, this is a very good option because it has, you know, all of the different lighting adjusting settings like that. And here you can see this is where layers go in the bottom right hand side. So first of all, to start with, you want to think about what your thumbnail's gonna be. Probably good to have a title in the thumbnail, like say the game you're playing, whether it's like DayZ or The Walking Dead. You'll want to go grab a title or a logo for that. So obviously, since you're going to be wanting a title for your video, using the logos that appear in the game are usually a really good idea, like whether that's DayZ or anything like that. So basically what you want to look up is the logo of the game that you're going to be playing, and then you want to find like a PNG image of that. So here's like a website where you can just like download the PNG image, click download and pray that you don't get a virus. And here I dragged it from my downloads and just, sorry, I keep looking over here for chat, but it's up here. I dragged it from my downloads and I just popped it in a folder with all of the editing assets that I'm going to be using for this thumbnail. So here it is, The Walking Dead, and because it's a PNG, that means that it's going to have a transparent background, so we won't have to edit out any of the background for that. So it's super handy if you're ever looking for stuff online that you want to like quickly edit. Definitely search PNG and just make sure that it's actually a PNG, because some of the things you'll see, it will say it's a PNG and then you download it and then there's still like a background to it, like a checkered background. So it's like conning you into thinking it's a PNG and it's not. So that's one of the things you have to do, just double check that it is a PNG. But now that we have that, we're just gonna drag it from our folder into Photoshop or into PhotoPea. There we go. So that's great. So we obviously have The Walking Dead, Telltale series, the final season. So we don't actually want the final season part of it. So we're just gonna edit that out. So the different shortcuts, Control and T is to transform. So you can also, that's like one of the tools that you'll be using like all of the time when you're editing thumbnails, is the transform tool. So it's also in edit down here, transform. Free transform will just let you turn it, scale it, anything like that you want to do. And then transform is just if you want to pick a specific thing that you want to do. So free transform lets you do it all, turn it around, everything. And then if you go into the transform settings, it will actually only give you one option. So whether you want to flip it, rotate it, anything like that. But better to use the shortcuts, I think, always. So Command T, oopsie daisy. Command T to do that, to scale it to how we want to scale it. Now, just so we can see it better, I'm going to change this background to black. So over here, you can select black. Just going to scale up a brush. And yeah, I'm going to just quickly paint this black. It's not the most effective thing, but sure. Now, so we don't want the final season part of it or the Telltale series, because people kind of already know it's the Telltale series, I think. So I'm just going to take this selection tool and select these parts of it and delete it. Nope, I'm not on the right layer. So yeah, just select the layer that you want and then delete. But not complete because your object is not directly editable. So if it ever says this, it means you have to rasterize the file. So basically, if you see here, you right click on the layer that you want to edit. You click rasterize, which is an option here. And then once you go back over here and you do it again, your layer will be editable. Now you might be asking, why is that? Like, why do you need to rasterize the layer? I have no idea. So I just do it and it works fine. And yeah, we just pray to God that it works. So I have no idea what it means. But anyway, so one thing that's really cool about Photoshop is, oh, one sec, let me camera. One thing that's really cool about this is that for logos like this, one thing that you can do is if you right click on the logo here, you select blending options. You have all of these different options that you're able to edit the text with. So this could also be for a photograph. So if you want a shadow behind an image, you don't have to draw it in yourself ever. You can just click this drop shadow here, and all of a sudden you have like a perfectly great shadow that you can change the angle of, like anything like that, which is just absolutely awesome, really. You can choose the distance, like say if, you know, you want it something kind of closer, change the angle of it if we want it straight from behind. So yeah, it's really great and just like an awesome way of, you know, kind of editing it directly and like it being like super quick. So that's one of the things. Also, if you want it to glow instead, you can do outer glow. Maybe you want it to kind of glow red like this. You know, that's an option as well. Pattern overlay, you can make it, you know, kind of different pattern on top of the text. Gradient overlay, basically choosing 2 different colors, and it will change that for you. Color overlay is just one color, so that basically will change the text whatever color you want. Satin, I think, makes it smoother. Inner glow, there's all different options as well. One of the ones, stroke, is very good as well because that will just give you like an outline for if you want to make your text like stand out a bit more, which is great. Bevel on emboss as well, like that just instantly makes the text look like really great. And this is also not just for logos or anything like that. That's also for if you just use the text tool over here on Photoshop. Like that will instantly give your text like just this oomph that people will know you put, like, you know, you put a lot of effort into this thumbnail, but really you're just using the blending options, which are super easy and super quick. So we're gonna leave that for now. Excuse me. We're gonna leave that for now. And we're gonna move on to just getting the different elements sorted. So now that is the logo. So I'm just gonna rename it logo. Now, what other elements do we want in this? So basically, I had the idea of having a kind of zombified duck in the corner, and then we're gonna have Clem kind of shooting duck with like Lee over her shoulder. So basically, I'm gonna choose which version of duck I want. So I think I kind of want this one where he's like looking over at them a bit more. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with this version of duck. Just drag it on onto the board here. Hit enter. There we go. So now we have this version of duck. So what we're gonna do is we have to try and separate him from the rest of the background because we don't really want the background in it. So one thing you can use is this quick selection tool. Now you could either, there's different ways that you could do this, depending on, you know, how deep in you want to get to it. So the quick selection tool is good because it kind of just, you know, it gets all of the edges, kind of whichever piece of the person you want to do. Sometimes it goes out a little bit of the edges, which can be kind of annoying, especially if there is similar color. Or, you know, if it's a drawing, it's harder for it to detect what is the subject. So here we go. We can try and get a little bit here. Nope, see, it's gone a bit overboard there. So holding Alt and it will give me the minus tool where I can deselect where it's gone a bit overboard and hope that it realizes its mistake and lets me select what I want. So this is looking about as good as we're gonna get it for now, and then I'm gonna have to manually change this. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of like deleting all of this area outside straight away, I'm gonna copy and paste. So Control C and Control V. And there we go, we get like a bit of a, I guess it's kind of a selected duck. There's like a little bits that are a bit off, but once you go in and you kind of, you know, edit it up a bit, like remove those little bits, it's okay. So that's one method of doing it. All right, so another option that we can use for this would be just to use an eraser. So if you make it bigger with, it's like the, what was it, the square bracket key, you can make it bigger and smaller. And you would just, you know, go in and erase like what you don't want. Like, it's a bit more crude, but you know what, you can kind of get what you want done that way. Which is one option. But an even better option than using the eraser would be something that is called non-destructive. So with the eraser, it's deemed as destructive because once you erase something like that, you can't get it back. Whereas if you use some like a way of editing it where it's non-destructive, you will be able to get the piece that you erased back, essentially. So what we do instead is we use something that's called a mask. So if you see down in this corner, it says add layer mask. So once we click on that, or you can go and right click and add a mask that way, you'll see it adds a white box to the layer. So this white box actually is kind of like a mask over it, and the white means that we can see it, and when you paint black over it, it means that it's hidden. So make sure you're selected on this white box. You go to the paintbrush tool, and over here on the left hand side you will have a white and a black you can pick between over here and swap between. So you want to go to black and make your brush smaller, and then you're able to paint away. If you put your opacity on 100, you'll get 100 clear lines like that. You'll be able to paint away. But the beautiful thing about this is that when you switch to white and you're on this layer, you can paint back in any mistakes that you've made. Whereas if you were to erase it directly, it is destructive, so you won't be able to bring back any of the pieces that you've lost. So here again, we're going to go in with the black and just edit away the pieces. It's not as fast as if you were to do the quick selection tool, but sometimes on PhotoPea the quick selection doesn't work. Again, it mightn't work for drawings, or if your image is very close to the background color, which is like where human eyes are kind of better. That's another method. So here I'm going to bring another duck back in, and I'm gonna get rid of that one. So here's another type we're gonna do. So select all. I think it is, hold on. I'm trying to figure out what it is now. Okay, rasterize. So right click. We want to get rid of the selection. Right click. I think I did rasterize it just there. Yeah, I rasterized it just there. We want to look for select. And it's hard to see sometimes. There's so many options in Photoshop that it's kind of ridiculous. There we go. It's select and subject. And there you see it's actually done an even better job than when we just use the quick selection, which is kind of impressive to think that your Photoshop knows like what is the subject of a photo. So yeah, here now it's you know, it's taken some bits, like it has this bit of the tree, but it doesn't have this part of his ear. It's taken away the inside of his sleeve and it doesn't have his leg. So just to fix that, we're gonna press shift when we're on the lasso tool up here. So that's just another method of selection. So when you press shift, it will add to the selection, and when you press alt, it will show a minus and you can take away. So here I'm gonna take away this part of the tree really quickly. We'll just zoom in so get a better look. Spacebar and move around. But here, go to the lasso, we'll do a plus and we'll just add this section under his arm. Spacebar and move up. Do alt for a minus, take away this little bit. We want to add this part of his ear, add this. Want this. Top part of his ear as well. Don't want this part of the tree. Get rid of that. Spacebar to move up. It's actually done his hair really well, which I'm kind of surprised at. So that's part of his hair, yes. I think I want a little bit more of his ear here. This is a bit too much. Around there. This bit. Got the neck pretty good. Missed a bit of the outline. Do that. Spacebar and move around. Oh yes, and the leg. We want his leg. There we go. Should do, and this bit here. Take away this little section here. And there we go. I think that's great. So zooming out with alt as well. And then Control C and Control V. Perfect. We have basically a cutout duck. So it looks a bit odd because obviously there's no background, so he's just kind of floating in air a little bit. But we're going to, I'm just going to delete the other options that I had. I'll keep the original, but we're just going to duck. And that's perfect. So now we have the logo, we have duck. Now we want Lee and Clementine in. So the only way I could get this like proper high quality was from my stream. So ignore my face on the side. But we are going to edit this really quickly. Sorry, my throat's getting sore. I gotta edit this really quickly. So what we're gonna do, I think, is I'm going to just get rid of me because I don't want that in there. Okay, so we need to rasterize it again. Rasterize, delete me. So that's good. And then we want to, with this layer, we'll see if we can do the subject again and we'll see if it works. I'm not too sure how it will work with this. So select subject. Oh, it's done pretty good. Pretty good again. So zooming in, we're just gonna select the bits of the gun. So with the lasso tool again, pressing shift and you get this plus key on it. Quickly make this around. It doesn't have to be too precise. You know, and if you make a mistake, if you ever make a mistake where you like say click out of here and everything goes away, what you're gonna do is Control Z to undo and it will bring everything back up, because I used to do that all the time and I would be like, no, all my progress is gone, but it's not gone. It's just one undo key away. So we're going to quickly grab this. Do all of this, and essentially what you're going to do is select all of the bits that you want to select. I'm not going to go through it all again because it's going to take a bit of time and it's boring. But what I am going to do is show you how to get rid of text like this. So I'm going to just unselect this. So that would be something that, you know, you would have to go in and select everything. But say if there was something on your image that you didn't want, like subtitles or anything like that. One cool key that you can use is this one over here called the patch tool. Now a lot of people will use the healing brush tool, so, or the spot healing brush tool. and just go over it like this, and it will, you know, it will try its best to figure out what it's meant to blend. Like this is usually for, like, say if you have a blemish on your face and you wanted to edit it would do it. But since this is a bit different, we're going to use the patch tool and just zoom in on the text that we want to change. So here we're going to go with the letter R. Just select it like this around carefully. And we're going to move it until we can't see anymore. And it should kind of fix it. You see it has a little bit of the black around, which we don't really want. That's coming from the side of the U. But we should be able to fix it. Like maybe even taking the entire word, just carefully cutting around it. It will kind of source from wherever you move the brush to. And it will try and figure out, oh, what is actually meant to be in this section. So we want to line up the yellow, which is a bit hard. Oh, there we go. That might work. Line up the yellow and see, it will, that's perfect. It will figure out for itself like the color and adjust it to where it's meant to be. So that's actually pretty good. I think that looks like nothing was done even. So let's see another section over here. I'm gonna take this bit and find something that sort of matches like what you think it would look like. So there we go. That's perfectly fine. It kind of looks similar. And that's how you kind of fix little things like that and make it look like it's blended in, which is really great. You know, it's a super handy way of doing it. So just for the sake of you know, speed and me not losing my mind, I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. Nope, that is, oh yes, that is the one that I used. I just didn't get rid of my face, and we'll move it over here. So there, as you can see, I've edited and taken off all of the different, you know, subtitles basically, and you know, it's kind of clipped and edited pretty well, I think, to where I want it. So then we have this element, which is duck as well. So selecting his layer, we could bring him down a bit, and then kind of figuring out, oh, where do we want the logo? How big do we want the logo? I want it a bit smaller, so Control T, and I'm gonna drag it, like, maybe we'll have it here in the center. Move duck over a bit. Just kind of looking up at them. It doesn't have to be exact, you know, because it's just a thumbnail. Like, people will get the gist of it. You know, it's not modern art. You don't have to be too particular about it. But it is good, like, to have a good thumbnail. It's really essential, like, you know, to have people watch your video. I think it's a great idea. Sometimes it's also good, you know, to have your face in these things as well, which can be super handy to just, you know, be able to copy and paste and like learn how to edit things quickly and efficiently. Like, you could spend, I'd say, like 10-20 minutes like trying to make a background, like a drop shadow for this logo. You could spend 10-20 minutes trying to make that, when all of a sudden, like, you might look at this video or you might watch another video and realize like the option to add a drop shadow is just that easy, instead of you like painting it. Do you know what I mean? Which is something that, like, you know, will speed up your time, will allow you to play more games, or, you know, kind of speed up your production time, edit more videos or whatever. So it's really handy. So there we go. Next thing we want is a background. So I'm just gonna grab one from here. This is the one I use, basically a train from the episode. So I'm gonna copy and paste that in. And then, because there's an order of layers on Photoshop, what you want to do is drag the stuff that you want at the back down the bottom. So above the background, but down the bottom. So here we can see we have the train. Now obviously it's looking a bit cluttered. So what I want to do is kind of edit things a little bit. We want the train in there. And we want the logo, I think maybe could be in the top corner. It could even be kind of behind Duck's head. You know what I mean? Because people are going to know it's, you know, The Walking Dead, that kind of thing. So the next step in this is we want to kind of separate the characters from the background. So here you can see, actually the top of Lee's head is missing. So we're just going to scale it up a bit so nobody notices that. And kind of bring him back a little there. Yes, that's perfect. So essentially we want to add those effects. So we want to have the drop shadow on Lee and Clementine. So right clicking on the layer, right clicking, doing blending options, kind of figuring out this drop shadow. I don't know why the effects seem to have disappeared. It's great. Why have you disappeared? So there we go. I don't know why the effects disappeared on that, but I think it's because I copied and pasted it, but anyways, so here we go. We're gonna add in this drop shadow just so that they kind of stand out from the background a good bit. I think that's pretty good. So have that there. We're gonna add one for Duck as well. Right click, blending options, drop shadow. There we go. He has his own drop shadow as well. You can angle it, so angle it whatever way you want to, which is fine. And then I think just with the background, we're gonna edit this as well. So adding a brightness filter to it here. So you can see up here, there's all different types of filters that you can use. Say if you wanted it in black and white, or if you wanted the saturation to be higher or saturation to be lower, there's an option for that. But here we have the brightness and contrast, and here's where we're editing it. So you can just add it here. So this is just directly on the background. So I'm going to brighten it up a good bit, I think, because it looks a bit too dark for what I want. So I'm going to leave it a bit lower contrast as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Alt. And so when I press Alt and hold it in between these two layers, it sticks the brightness layer directly to the layer beneath it. So that means if you had anything underneath, it wouldn't affect it. So you'll see what I mean when I add a brightness layer, say on top of Duck, if I wanted to make Duck brighter, and I don't do that alt thing, it would also affect the background. So what we want to do is clip it to that layer beneath it. So clip it specifically to Duck's layer so that it doesn't affect anything beneath it in the hierarchy. So we're just going to hold down Alt and click so it sticks to Duck. We're going to add, I'd say, only a little bit of brightness, like, yeah, maybe some contrast so he looks kind of like a bit sicklier. I think that's pretty good. And then we're going to add one for Lee and Clementine as well. Go brightness, click Alt and attach it to that layer. We're going to make them a good bit brighter. Contrast a bit as well. And let's see, for the logo, I think we're going to move Duck down a little bit. So just click on his, move him down, and then kind of have the logo, yeah, here in the corner. I think moving the train over, I think that's good. logo. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So now you have your... Oh, so now, yeah, basically you have your thumbnail. That's what I was trying to say. So hopefully you guys have gotten something out of this. The next stage, once you have the composition you want, have all the editing and stuff that you like, you're gonna go to File, and then you're gonna export it. So you could do quick export as PNG. It'll basically export it as a PNG for you. What I do is export as, and then we want to do it as JPEG. Because sometimes when you're uploading videos to YouTube, YouTube doesn't like that you have it in a high quality. For some reason, it says it's too big of a file. So what you want to do is just save it as a JPEG. So basically, sorry, I've got the hiccups. So basically that means that it won't be too high of a quality, because with PNGs, they're kind of naturally a higher quality file. So they'll be a larger file. But this is fine. So you could do best, you know, high quality, or you could do kind of medium. I'd say the highest quality is fine. But if you have like problems with it being too big of a file, you can always like turn this. Sorry, I don't know why I'm looking over here. You can always turn this down. If you have problems with it being too big of a file. Okay. So exporting it like this, then obviously you just rename it to whatever you want to rename it. Yeah, and then it's perfect. So we're just gonna call it episode 3. Perfect, and you're saved, and then you have a perfect thumbnail that you can use for your YouTube. Yeah. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was just a quick tutorial because I couldn't stream and it made me really sad, and I wanted to do it, guys. So hopefully it's helpful. If anyone has any questions or anything like that, like I am all ears. I love helping people out with this kind of stuff. Yeah, if you have any questions in regards to, say, like adding text or any problems with layers, file types, etc. Yeah, definitely just leave them below, or ask me on Discord or anything like that. I hope you guys found it useful. It'd be really great to see like if people are able to get something out of this. Like that's what I really want, is just, you know, to help people with this kind of stuff, because it's something I'm passionate about and I actually really like doing. This side of things, like the editing thumbnail kind of side of stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like or a comment if you enjoyed it, and yeah, sub if you have the time, or come check me out on Twitch once my internet is fixed. So yeah, guys, have a good one and see ya.